The afternoon sun painted golden streaks across the garden venue where Marcus Webb and Keisha Turner prepared for the most important day of their lives. White chairs lined perfectly on emerald grass, flowers bloomed in careful arrangements, and laughter echoed through the air. Marcus adjusted his bow tie for the 5th time, his hands trembling with excitement. Keisha stood in the bridal suite, her mother fastening the final buttons on her ivory dress. Family members rushed about, carrying champagne glasses and checking decorations. The DJ tested his equipment, sending smooth jazz melting through the speakers. Everything was perfect, absolutely perfect. Officer Derek Brennan slammed his patrol car door with unnecessary force. He had received no call, no complaint, no reason to be there. But driving past the celebration had triggered something dark inside him. The sight of successful, happy black families always did. He marched through the entrance gate, his hand resting on his belt, badge gleaming in the sunlight. Marcus's cousin spotted him first, confusion crossing his face. The music lured. Heads turned. Brennan pushed through the gathering crowd, his boots crushing delicate rose petals scattered along the aisle. His voice cut through the joyful atmosphere like broken glass. Which one of you is responsible for this circus? Brennan barked, his eyes scanning the guests with contempt. Got complaints about noise, disturbing the peace, probably don't even have permits for this. Marcus stepped forward, maintaining his composure despite the rage building in his chest. He extended his hand politely. Officer, I'm Marcus Webb. This is my wedding. We have all proper permits, and we've been very mindful of noise levels. Perhaps there's been a mistake. Brennan ignored the offered handshake, stepping closer, invading Marcus's space aggressively. Mistake? The mistake is thinking you people can throw whatever party you want without consequences. The crowd shifted uneasily. Keisha appeared from the bridal suite, her dress flowing behind her, confusion and anger mixing on her beautiful face. Excuse me, what exactly is happening here? She demanded, positioning herself beside Marcus. Brennan's lip curled into something resembling a smile, but colder, meaner. Oh, the bride. Let me guess, probably planning on blasting music until midnight, disrobing hardworking neighbors, right? That's how it always goes with your kind. Guests rippled through the guests. Marcus's father stepped forward, but his son raised a hand, stopping him. Our kind. Marcus repeated slowly, his voice dangerously calm. You need to leave, officer. Now. Before this situation gets worse. Brennan laughed, a harsh song without humor. He reached for his handcuffs, fingers drumming against the metal. I'm not going anywhere. In fact, I'm shutting this whole operation down. You, groom, you're coming with me for obstruction. Maybe a night in holding will teach you some respect. He grabbed Marcus's arm roughly. The crowd erupted. Keisha screamed. Uncle Raymond moved to intervene. Brennan's other hand went to his weapon, not drawing it, but the threat clear and terrible. Time seemed to freeze. Fear and rage collided in the warm air. This was supposed to be celebration, not confrontation. This was supposed to be love, not hate. Then, movement from the back. A woman in an elegant burgundy dress stood up, her posture commanding immediate attention. She walked forward with measured steps, her heels clicking against the stone pathway. Behind her, a distinguished man in a tailored charcoal suit rose as well, his expression unreadable. Brennan barely noticed them, too focused on his power play, too consumed by his prejudice. The woman reached the confrontation, her voice cutting through the chaos with absolute authority. Officer Brennan, release that man immediately. Her tone left no room for argument, each word precisely delivered, loaded with consequence. Brennan turned, irritation flashing across his face. Lady, this is police business. Step back before I arrest you two for interference. The woman reached into her clutch, producing identification that made Brennan's face drain of color. I am Police Chief Sandra Washington, and this is Mayor David Chen. You just assaulted a citizen at his own wedding, made racial threats, and attempted false arrest. All witnessed by 200 guests, including half the city council. Mayor Chen stepped forward, his expression thunderous. We're personal friends of the couple, Officer Brennan. We watched your entire performance. Every illegal word, every abuse of power. Brennan's hands dropped from Marcus as if burned. His mouth opened, closed, searching for words that wouldn't come. The confident swagger evaporated, replaced by dawning horror. Chief Washington moved closer, her voice dropping to steel. I reviewed your file, Brennan. 17 complaints in 2 years. Excessive force, racial profiling, harassment. Every single one swept under the rug by your sergeant, who just happens to be your brother-in-law. That ends today. Right now. She extended her hand. Badge and weapon. You're suspended immediately, pending criminal investigation. The garden had gone completely silent. Even the birds seemed to hold their breath. Brennan's hands shook as he unpinned his badge, the metal that had given him false authority for so long. Chief, please, I was just doing my job, I thought. Washington cut him off with a sharp gesture. You thought you could terrorize innocent people because of their skin color. You thought your badge made you untouchable. You were wrong. Mayor Chen pulled out his phone, already dialing. I'm calling the district attorney personally. Officer Brennan, you're under arrest for assault, abuse of authority, and violation of civil rights. You have the right to remain silent. 2 uniformed officers appeared, ones who had been guests, now moving with grim purpose. They handcuffed Brennan, reading him his rights while he stood paralyzed by the magnitude of his mistake. As they led Brennan away, his career destroyed, his freedom ending, Chief Washington turned to Marcus and Keisha. Her stern expression softened into genuine warmth. I am so deeply sorry this happened on your special day. No one should face this hatred, especially not during a moment of pure joy. Marcus wrapped his arm around Keisha, both of them still processing the whirlwind. Thank you, Chief Washington, Mayor Chen. Without you here. Chen shook his head firmly. Justice shouldn't depend on who's watching, but I'm grateful we were here to make sure it happened swiftly. The chief addressed the crowd, her voice carrying authority mixed with compassion. What you witnessed today is unacceptable. It represents everything wrong with systems that protect bad officers while communities suffer. Starting Monday, we're implementing new oversight procedures, mandatory bias training, and independent review boards. No more protection for officers who abuse their power. No more looking away. Applause erupted, cathartic and powerful. Keisha wiped tears from her eyes, but they were no longer tears of fear or anger. They were tears of relief, of vindication, of hope that maybe things could actually change. Marcus took Keisha's hand, lifting it to his lips gently. Should we continue? He asked softly, searching her eyes. She nodded, her smile breaking through like sunrise after storm. The officiant stepped forward, adjusting his robes. The DJ restarted the music, gentle and beautiful. Guests returned to their seats, but something had shifted. This wasn't just a wedding anymore. It was a statement. It was resistance. It was proof that love and justice could triumph over hate. Marcus and Keisha stood before their community, before their friends, before leaders who had shown that accountability mattered. Dearly beloved, the officiant began, his voice strong and clear. We gather here today not just to celebrate love, but to affirm that love conquers all darkness. Marcus gazed at Keisha, seeing his entire future in her eyes. I promise to stand with you through every challenge, to fight beside you for what's right, to never let hatred diminish our joy. Keisha squeezed his hands, her voice unwavering. I promise to be your strength when the world seems cruel, to celebrate every victory, no matter how small, to build a life filled with purpose and passion. They exchanged rings, symbols of unbreakable commitment. "I now pronounce you husband and wife," the officiant declared triumphantly. Marcus kissed Keisha deeply while the crowd erupted in joyous celebration. Music swelled. Flowers were thrown. Children danced. The party that Brennan had tried to destroy became a symbol of resilience and community strength. During the reception, Chief Washington announced the formation of a community liaison program, with Marcus and Keisha as founding members. Mayor Chen pledged funding for civil rights education in schools. What started as an attack had transformed into a movement. As the sun set and string lights twinkled overhead, Marcus and Keisha shared their first dance as husband and wife. Around them, their community celebrated not just their union, but the promise of change. Officer Brennan faced charges that would end his career and likely result in prison time. His case became the catalyst for department-wide reform. 17 other officers with similar complaint histories were investigated. Systems that protected abusers were dismantled. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't complete, but it was progress. Real, tangible progress born from one couple's refusal to let hate win their day. Months later, Marcus and Keisha stood before City Council, sharing their story as new oversight policies were signed into law. The garden venue where they married became a meeting place for community justice initiatives. Their wedding photos, capturing both the confrontation and the triumph, circulated widely, reminding people that change happens when good people refuse to stay silent. Officer Brennan's trial resulted in conviction. His testimony exposed the network of officers who had enabled his behavior for years. 7 resigned. 4 were fired. The department began slow, difficult transformation. Marcus and Keisha built their life together on foundations of love strengthened by adversity. They spoke at schools, at community centers, at police academies, telling their story with honesty and power. They never forgot that day, the fear and rage, but also the unexpected allies and swift justice. They represented something bigger than themselves now, a living reminder that while racism persists, so does resistance. Their marriage became a symbol, their voices became tools for change, their love became proof that joy can survive and thrive even in the face of hate.